Okay, so we'll be explaining how my code works. My name is Diego Medina. So let's get started. Before anything else, with starting the code, we will print this. This will print regardless of anything else. It says, "Welcome to the video game recommendation quiz. Answer the following questions to get a personalized game suggestion." So we get started with the first loop. All of these loops will run. We first have to break the loop. So a while loop will go until it breaks. So let's see here. We get started. It goes down along the lines of first the genre. So we ask the user, what genre do you like? If we select one of these options, we can only select from 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, because these are the only options that are available. Here we have listed on the title what it will read on the code, where you select action for number 1, RPG for number 2, strategy for number 3, horror for number 4, and adventure for number 5. If we select anything that's not 1 through 5, if we do 6 for example, it will print this. So let's try it. So let's go to the code. This, as we said, this will print regardless. And then we get started with the first loop. This is the first loop. So let's do, I like action, so let's do action. So do you prefer multiplayer or single player games? So once we finish the first loop, then we go on to the second loop. On the first loop, we made an example that did work, so let's try one that doesn't work. So we only have options 1 or 2. So let's try to do 3 this time, just because that one is not an option. So we'll do 3. This one will say invalid. It says invalid choice, please enter 1 or 2. So we go back to the question, or to the loop, I'm sorry. Since we didn't select 1 or 2, it will print this. Invalid choice, please enter 1 or 2. Here, we these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops basically all work the same way. It's eventually just leading you to your personalized video game recommendation according to what you prefer based off of the options. So from here, you select one, it moves you down to the next one. You select another one, it moves you down to the next one, because you're breaking the loop. And then you move on to the next one and the next one. If you put an option that doesn't work, for all of these, it will print invalid, 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 invalid. But yeah, you just keep moving down the line. As long as you, of course, put something that does work. So 1 or 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So here we're doing the if statements to initialize the numbers to the word. So for the first section, for the genre, and then for the multiplayer mode. So we're setting multiplayer to 1, single player to else. So if this one doesn't work, then we do else. So if 1 is not available, then we do 2. So 2 will work. And then this is basically just repeating on top of each other, just so that the options on the quiz here will work. So let's do if multiplayer, which is 1, doesn't work, then it's else that will work. So let's do 2. Then it's the else that will work. So it moves us to the next while loop. So let's do like realistics. I'll do realistics just for the sake of this. And then yeah, we're just, as we see, we're just going down the while loops until we break them, just because otherwise it'll just keep repeating the invalid choice. So we're breaking the loop to move on to the next one. Here we, as we already explained, we're initializing the action to the 1, or RPG to the 2, and then so on and so forth for all the while loops. And then it will eventually lead you to a recommendation based off of all the questions that you select. So with the code here, with the if and the nested if statements, basically all this will belong to this if statement. And then all this will do elif statement, else if. Eventually, meaning that if these are nested, if this one works, then we will take a look at this. If not, then we don't enter this. If this one doesn't work, then we move on to this one. And then if this one doesn't work, then we move on to this one, and then into the nested. But of course, if it doesn't work, then we move on to this one, and then into the nested statement. And then yeah, we go down the elif to see which one does work. If none of these work, then we will do ultimately the else. The else just basically says, if this one didn't work, then we move on to this one. If this one didn't work, we move on to this one, and then so forth until we go to the else. If based off of the quiz nothing worked, then the recommendation will print Minecraft, a versatile game that fits all styles and preferences. And then here, I messed something else. I think I dragged something incorrectly, but it says, it's supposed to say, do you enjoy a challenging game? Enter the number of your choice. I think I dragged something incorrectly, but so we'll do yes or no. If you do like a challenging game, then you do 1. And then you just select the platform, and let's do 4. So it will do the based off of your answer. We recommend God of War, and then that's basically how the code will work.